it wasn't contested or anything, and it landed all right. Anyway, Jim Bill was there. He was in North Africa, just a young recruit, and he was in the group that the Americans stayed separate from the rest of from England and all that because they didn't want England to be English people, any English commanders commanding their troops. But they went along with them, and they fought all the way through North Africa, clear through Libya, and down to over the Kasserine Pass, and down to Tunisia. And from Tunisia, he was in the third. Jim Bill was in the headquarters company of the 3rd Regiment of the 1st Division. Got all that?
Yeah.
Chuck knows what it's all about. I guess he knows more than I do for sure. Anyway, from there, they went off across the water to land in Sicily. Montgomery's group went around one side of Sicily, and Patton's group went around the other, which is what the 1st Division's commanders was, and they wound up meeting in Palermo. Now, some of the landed people, some of them had this, so now Jim Bill's group had 2 amphibious landings under their belt. One as they landed in Africa, and one as they landed in Sicily. From there, Jim's group was not sent to land in Anzio. Instead, they were put in ships and shipped off to England, clear through the Mediterranean, clear around that way, and landed in England. They landed in Liverpool, in England, I understand. And they were there as troops that were experienced in this type of landing, and they underwent about 8 or 9 months or so of a rather rigorous training exercises and practice landings and all of this sort of thing. And the 3rd, Jim's group, landed, went on Omaha Beach on June 6th in the first wave, landing on the red sector of Omaha Beach.
On the red, you said?
Yeah, on the Omaha Beach had a whole bunch of sectors. There was a green sector and the red sector and a bunch of others designating where their landing craft were supposed to land. And where they landed was on the north end of Omaha Beach. Omaha Beach was not a flat, straight. It was kind of shaped like it was U-shaped almost. It was shaped like a cusp.
Yeah.
Anyway, the landing their groups that landed where Jim did not only got the fire from the pillboxes right above them, but they got it from the north side of them where there was coming in. And in Jim's group, there's only about 10% of them lived. Jim was one of them that lived. He wasn't even injured. Now, when I landed on Omaha Beach, it was about a 300-yard distance from where they waited. They came in on shore with water up to their waist, and they had about halfway across this 300 yards was an area where the tides come up and and went out on normal tides, and it was kind of a rocky section there, not big rocks, just unpleasant rocks for a beach. And the Germans had put all kinds of barriers in that thing to slow them down, including razor wire and that sort of thing. But they got across that, and they got underneath the eaves of the beach, and that was where this General Taylor, in the longest day, he said there are two kinds of people on this beach, dead ones and those that aren't dead yet. He says, if you don't want to be one of them, come up to the end. Now they're at a location where the guns can't reach them from above because they can't go down low enough. And there's a gully there, and his group was the first group to actually break out of Omaha Beach and go inland. And they went inland, and some of them neutralized the German pillboxes and stuff there as they went. From there, they didn't have many left in his group, and he wound up going off towards Caen, where the British were supposed to have taken, and fought there for a while, and then he wound up to the Ballet Gap. And
what kind of ballet?
The Germans are going to get all together and with their tanks and stuff and make a push, and the Americans and the British kept them from doing that. So he fought in the Ballet Gap, and then he was in the group that went to the north, going through the Low Countries, and this wound him up going up into Belgium, and he was in Belgium when the Germans attacked and Battle of the Bulge, and so he fought in the Battle of the Bulge and got out of there. And all this time, he never got killed or injured or anything. I guess he was just lucky.
Yeah, I guess.
Awful lucky. Anyway, he was in the group that went up, and they into Germany, crossed the Rhine, went up, and he was there when they liberated the prison camp at Berchtesgaden, not Berchtesgaden, but Baden-Baden. Belton Garden or something like that.
Buchenwald?
Very, very good.
Buchenwald?
Buchenwald, that's what I'm trying to say, yeah. Buchenwald. He was there when they liberated Buchenwald. And from then on, it was kind of a mop-up operation, I guess you might say. I kind of went through this pretty fast. And in the course of all this, he got a whole bunch of medals. One was a Silver Star. And he got another one, which is a group one. I forget what it was called. Something Cross. Chuck would probably know.
Yeah.
And Luann has these. Luann Erickson has these the names of them all. I have them back on the computer back here. I have to go back and look them up.
Maybe
but
we
he
can
got
get them.
quite a number of medals on this.
Yeah.
And he wound, and that's where he wound up with. Wound up was up there in Germany, close to the border of Poland. And anyway, he was in pretty much the the thick of it all away. I mean, talk about being shit on. He was shit on real good. You know, I mean, he really, he was really in the midst of it.
Right.
And when one time, Uncle Al and Dad, and I think Dick was there, and myself, got him talking about this a little bit. Jim says, you know, he says, I always carried 2 canteens with me. He says, a lot of the guys did. He says, I had 2 canteens with me all the time. He says, one had water in it, and the other had whiskey.
Yeah.
And
I guess he needed it.
And you can understand why.
Yeah.
Well, we was also in Denver when Jim got out of the service. He wasn't, at this time, he wasn't completely discharged. He was sent home for extended leave for several months because they were thinking about sending a bunch of the 1st Division off to fight in Japan when they invaded Japan. But they didn't have to invade Japan because of the bomb, so he didn't. So he was permanently discharged at that time. So I guess that's the story as I know it. I could go into more detail of. I could sit down with my notes and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. You can remember all those details. You know what? We would like to know all those medals that he received and all. If we had any chance to get that information, could you send it by the computer?
Yes, I have an email from Luann, which is his daughter.
Yeah.
She went and got replicas of all his medals, I understand, and has them, and she listed them all. But I don't know what they are, but I can look. I've got it here on the computer.
Actually,
and I'll send it
Mark,
to you.
actually, she has sent that to us, so we do have a copy of that.
Oh, you already have it?
Of what she has. It maybe Mom just hasn't had a chance to read it.
I didn't get through some of his emails, so probably I didn't.
That's what I've got. So then I don't have to do that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I marvel at all that you knew about him, and Chuck and I were just kind of didn't know a lot of things, I guess, that about Jim Bill, but we knew, he'd been in a lot of battles, but we didn't know how extensive they were.
Apparently he was, Jim was kind of a mama's boy, you might say, and kind of, I won't hate to say this, but kind of a rich kid that went to college, or kind of a guy that really wasn't ever going to amount to much, probably, but he got drafted into that situation.
Yeah.
And when he left, he was just a kid, going there.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I know.
When he came back, when he got out, he drank too much and smoked too much, and he was shaky. He wasn't his old self. He would talk about his experiences there if you sat down and asked him, but. And he'd go into detail quite a little bit. He did. Dad was drilling him a lot, and so did Uncle Al when he was down there one time. And they were all up in Glenwood, and I sat there in the background and listened intently because I was interested in it, And so I remember that. But Jim was always kind of a shaky after that. He wasn't.
Yeah, well.
Like it was
Yeah, well, Chuck and I, when we were going to college at that time, or Chuck was, and I was working, but we would go visit him and Peggy when he was married to Peggy. How many years would that be?
That was
That was 51 or 52. And we would visit with him, and I don't ever remember us talking about the war at all. Do you, Chuck?
No.
I mean, it's strange that I think we were just naive about everything.
You know, it was one of these things you knew he didn't want to relive it.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to talk about it particularly. So people just kind of didn't bother to ask him.
And he was so fun to be with. I mean, we really liked Jim Bill, and we would have good times with him. And
him and Peggy was a nifty lady. She was.
Yeah, she was. And anyway.
Red-headed gal.
So anyway, we remember the fun with him, but we didn't know all the history of his army, and we were just, we wanted to know more about his medals and what he had. So I guess Danny had them somewhere here, and we were talking about it, and he handed me some, but I didn't get it all.
We got the Silver Star, and there was another one that was right underneath. It was a unit award or a group award or something. I can't remember what they call them. Meritorious Indian Service Medal or something.
Yeah, Meritorious Medal or something.
That was a big deal too.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
I don't know much about all the details of all these medals, but I actually can remember seeing his Silver Star. He had them laid out on a bed one time in Denver when we were there. We were looking at them. There's quite a bunch of them. A lot of them, I don't know enough about the.
Yeah, well, boy.
I don't know what they mean, but.
He had his share of everything, didn't he? I can't imagine any one person being sent to all those battles, can you?
Well, at least as he said, at least I missed Anzio.
Yeah.
That Anzio was a badass place to go. And a lot of troops landed in Anzio and went up through Italy, and that wasn't a good place to go either, so he got a respite there, but it was followed up by landing on Omaha Beach, right up the north end of Omaha Beach, which is a bad sector to be in.
Right.
Yeah. We went with David 2 years ago to Omaha Beach when Deborah was ill, and that's where she got really sick again. And we were right there on Omaha Beach in that area. It's a strange coincidence when I think back at it.
Same places that was listed as Oklahoma Indian in the records.
No, Jim was not an Oklahoma Indian.
Right.
No, we know that.
Yeah, that's what we've gathered. That we were just wondering why it was such a strange coincidence to have another Jim Hare and all the same.
That description was part of the Silver Star. You were talking about the Silver Star. Right?
Yeah, and that description was part of a Silver Star too.
His name was James William Hare Jr.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
somebody either decided to pick up on his name, or I don't know. It just
screw up in that record.
somebody typed it in wrong, I suppose.
Well, I don't know. Maybe somebody's trying to make something out for somebody else off of his.
It's possible.
Yeah, you just never know.
I don't know.
We were just he's still going to do some more research on it, but it was just a coincidence that they were all in the same place with the same records. So it maybe just like they just could have messed it up, or maybe there could be some other reason. We'll find out someday. But
what I did, I found out that he was in the headquarters company of the 16th Regiment. And I was puzzled for a long time. I thought that was the 16th division. It was 16th Regiment in the 1st Division. the first division, it was called the Big Red One sometimes.
Right.
And that's what he was a part of. And so that threw me for a long time. But what I did was I followed through on what I could find out about what that unit did, you know, and where they were and when they were there, and so on. And the more I got into it, the more my jaw dropped. I thought, Jesus Christ! I mean, this man was really in the thick of it. You know, he was.
Yeah.
He just couldn't step out of the mud. He was there.
Right.
And I have very fond recollections of a lot of these things that Jim said. And I have very fond recollections or memories of him as well, you know.
Right.
I really admire him and appreciate what he did.
Well, he was a true hero. That's sure. Amazing story.
No question about it. He was Audie Murphy in Denver.
That's
It really was. And I know a couple of... Jim used to come over to Glenwood because he liked to go fishing. And I always went fishing with him. And sometimes we'd camp at night. And we'd sit there at the campfire and he'd talk about it. There was just something about the atmosphere, you know, being outside like that, doing things, and he would talk about various things. So I wish I'd had a way to record him because it was interesting, but he was kind of, he wasn't telling a story. He would tell something that would spark his memory, and he'd talk about it for a little bit, and then he'd go on to something else. But it would have been interesting been wonderful to have it. He really had something to say, you know.
yeah.
So-
How old were you when you talked to him with the camping?
Oh, I was probably, 10, 12 years old, something like that.
Where were some of the places you went fishing with him?
Well, we went fishing a lot up on the Crystal River. In fact, he bought a house up there in Redstone for one time, and Dad put wiring in it, and he had a house in Redstone for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, and he'd go up there and stay in that house.
Are you saying Crystal River?
Crystal River, yeah. Up there.
Up by Marble?
Redstone.
Redstone. Yeah, I used to always go to
We
Redstone.
fished down there below Redstone a lot.
Yeah, we knew that he used to go there. I don't know if he sometimes just went there to get away from the world, I think.
Oh yeah, a lot of times he just wanted to be by himself.
So what kind of fishing you've caught?
Yeah.
What kind of fish were you after when you were fishing?
Well, the only fish there are trout.
Yeah? Were you catching them?
Oh yeah.
You're not gonna tell us any whoppers now.
No, I don't remember anything. We got to catch a mess of fish and go fry them up. We'd eat them.
Yep.
What?
Those days there were fish available.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of fish then available in the streams compared to now.
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot there now because they kept that pretty well stocked up there.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, most of them are brook trout anymore, so they're pretty small.
Yeah.
Well, I envy you. That's that's a beautiful place to be up there, Danny.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Danny when he came down and visited with us.
Well, he's a pretty good guy since he's my son.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, we did a lot. We even saw the eclipse of the moon.
Well, we had a wonderful trip, Chuck and I, with you and Dick and Phyllis in Las Vegas, and you took Chuck to
We had a
go.
lot of fun, didn't we?
Yeah, you took. Just kidding.
Chuck always did look young.
Well, no, we really had a good time. We went to the best of
70
shows.
years old. He looked like he was just about 15.
Well, anyway.
I wish I could have looked like that.
Yeah, well, he does pretty good. So, well, we're so glad to talk to you, and we wanted to talk to you. Well, we're going to leave tomorrow, so we're packing to get ready. So we'll talk to you again soon. You give us a call whenever you feel like it.
Well, I do. It doesn't cost anything to make a phone call anymore, so.
That's right. Well, I don't know why we don't do it more often.
Well, I don't either. I've got so I do more than I used to, but I don't know. It's just something you just get to do, you know.
Yeah.
Border of Florida there. I remember that.
Yeah, well, Florida is like everything else. There's seasons that it's better than others, and sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's perfect. So, you know, that's the way it is. Well, okay, well, we'll talk to you again soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Tell everybody hello. Tell Danny hello.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the info.
I'm glad to help you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.